Good afternoon, welcome to Viscount Leisure. My name is Charles and I'm going to take you on a tutorial video around this Valencia just to make sure that we know the basics of how everything operates and how we attach everything to the van and break it all down again afterwards. So what I'll do is I'll go around the outside and just check that we know what we're doing, do the same on the inside, and hopefully that will give you an idea. First things first, when we get to a caravan site, the first thing we want to be doing is making sure our caravan is level. That's front to back and left to right. The way we level it is we use our jockey wheel situated at the front here. Okay, and we can wind the front up and down until we get a nice level surface. What I would suggest is having a spirit level of some description, either on the A-frame or just inside the door or on a flat surface inside the van to make sure that we're level front to back. If we're not level side to side, you may get some kind of a leveling wedge which you would put underneath one of the wheels and then drive the caravan up onto that leveling wedge to raise one side or the other of the caravan. It's important to be level, A, for your comfort, and B, things work better inside the van when you are nice and level. Once we're level, we then put down our corner steadies. We've got one of those on each corner. This one is our front one down here, and you can see we have the socket there that will lower it and raise it. In your front locker you will also find the handle for doing that with it. You can also get drill attachments as well. So you lower them down. Again, these are just steadies, they're not levelers, so you do want to make sure that you're not leveling the caravan on those, and they literally go down to the floor till they touch, and that stops the caravan shaking around. But yeah, if we try and level on those, we will damage them or the floor of our caravan, so let's make sure we don't do that. Coming round then, we've got on the door here, next to the door, we've got an outside power socket, so when we're plugged into mains we can run power outside our caravan. We've also got an external gas barbecue point, so you'll need a ball fitting for that, and then you can use your gas outside without having to take a bottle out of your locker. This is one of our front lockers here, okay, for storage, and we've got another one situated on the other side. A quick chat about the hitch. We've got a Alco hitch head on here, stabilising hitch head, so you will need a tow ball that can accommodate that. If you've got any problems or you're not quite sure about that, do please ask and we can let you know. Excuse me, sorry, my camera doing something weird there. And if you've got an existing tow ball, make sure you're getting rid of all of the grease off of it. We don't want anything on that tow ball at all. This is a stabilising hitch head, so it's got friction pads in it which push against your tow ball and stop the caravan from snaking. All right. Again, the same thing, if you've got a brand new tow ball, you want to make sure you're sanding the paint off of the top of the ball, so you've got bare metal. That way the friction pads in there have got something to grip onto. Okay. We've talked about our jockey wheel already, so we know about that. And we also have our electrics here, so we are running 13-pin electrics, as you can see. So you want to make sure your tow bar is compatible with that, or you have the right adapter. Handbrake is situated just here. Okay, so it works very much like a car, in the upwards position at the moment, and then release to push down. You've also got Alco ATC control on here as well, so if you've got the right electrics on your car, that will operate as well, which can independently brake the wheels of the caravan to keep it in check if it feels itself going a bit twitchy. All right, so your sort of belts and braces with the hitch head stabilizer and the ATC. Coming around the side again, we've got our other cupboard here that we were talking about around the other side. In there you've got your cover for your hitch and also some waist hose. I'll show you where that goes in a minute. You're also going to need some water coming in, so you're going to need one of these. This is an aqua roll or something very similar to that. When you get to site, you fill that up, wheel it back to your caravan, get your water pump or your water pickup, I should say, drop it into the bottom of the barrel, okay, and then plug that into the side of the van, and then just push this back down, which then locks that into place. We're then ready to start pumping water into the van once we're inside. This is the flue for the boiler, so we've got an Audi boiler on board that works on gas and electric, so very much like your boiler at home. You need a flue on the outside to get rid of the exhaust fumes when it is running on the gas side of stuff. So it does get quite warm when you're running on gas. Don't block it, don't cover it with anything, just keep it nice and free with air there. Talking about gas, this is our gas locker. You must keep it in here because it's signposted that that's where it is kept. So two things when we are travelling with gas on board. One, we must make sure it's strapped in. There are straps in here which go around the bottle, and you must make sure the bottle is also turned off by using the screw fitting on the top, and you just screw it all the way down. Okay, once you get to site, you obviously undo it to allow the gas flow to come through our, what we call our pigtail or our gas hose here. That goes into the side of the bottle on an opposite thread, so not lefty loosey righty tighty, that goes in the other way round. Okay, and it's a hand tight wheel, so all we do is just nip that up nice and tight with our hands. There's a rubber seal on the end to make sure that that keeps the seal on. That then goes through to our bulkhead regulator sitting on here, which then turns it into the working gas pressure for the van, and then sends it through to all of our utilities in the van. Obviously room for 2 bottles, but the main thing to remember here is strapped in and turned off when we are travelling. These are our fridge vents, nothing to really talk about with these. The fridge uses heat to cool, so it pulls the cold air in from the bottom and expels the hot air out the top. I've had this on overnight, just checking everything's working properly, and I can feel all the warm air coming out of that. Okay, so we know that's all working as it should do. We've talked about our fresh water and where that goes in. We also have grey water that comes out from our taps, or sinks I should say, and also our shower, and that is then collected in what we call a waste master, or a waste container. So you'll need something similar to this. And the waste hose we were talking about in the front lockers, you can see coming out from here. I've put it into a little Y piece here just so it looks a bit neater. You can buy these, if not you can just put the 2 into the hole, and that then collects all of our grey water, and then when it's ready to when it's full, you take it, there'll be a service point on site, and you empty that, bring it back, fill up your fresh water, and you're ready to go again. These 2 doors here are our toilets. Okay, let me just grab the keys for the van and we'll have a quick look in there. So the toilet has a separate flush tank, and the reason it has a separate flush tank is that we don't want to put any chemicals, of course, in our fresh water. However, we do put chemicals into our flush tank. In our flush tank, you either put a pink chemical or a green chemical. All right, and that goes into, I'll get the right key. Right, that goes into here. All right. And we fill that up until you can see the liquid basically, but you dilute it with some water, and the instructions will be on the bottle or whichever one you decide to buy. You then use the toilet in the normal way and flush it, and then everything of course has to collect somewhere, and that collects in our toilet cassette just down here. So this is a Thetford toilet cassette. When it's full, there's an indicator light inside, will tell you. We just come in here, lift this up and pull it out. Now you can see I can't pull this out, and I'll tell you the reason why is because the gate is not closed properly inside. So don't try and force it out if you have that problem. Come into the van, find the toilet, and we have this this slider just on the side here. Again, yeah, I can see that wasn't all the way across, so you want to make sure that's all the way across, and then you'll be able to remove that. You kind of want to have that all the way across anyway, because that's the seal that's keeping all the smells out of the van. So it's always good to make sure that's shut anyway. This should now just pull out nicely. There we go. And as you can see, it's on wheels. It has an extendable handle here as well, so we can wheel it to our dedicated toilet point or chemical toilet point on site, where we have to empty these things. All right. Once we get there, we then extend the arm on here. Okay, we take the cap off the end, and then we've got a little button here. Press that, hold it down. What that does is release the air pressure inside the unit, and makes it easier when we are emptying it. Okay, so then we empty everything out of there down the point. There's normally a hose pipe there. I suggest giving it a rinse out and then giving it a shake about and emptying it again, just to make sure we're getting rid of all the nasties that are in there. I would also recommend using caravan toilet paper. The reason for that is it breaks down much better inside the unit. Once we've done that, you then, before we close this up actually, is you then reprime this unit with some blue or green chemical, and that breaks all that chemical breaks all the stuff down inside here, makes it much easier when we're emptying it, and also keeps it smelling more pleasant as well. That then goes in here, slides in, locks into place, job's a good one. You see we've got rubber seals around of all these, so don't worry, this will all be cleaned off. Your rubber seals, I would suggest getting some silicone spray, just having that on hand every now and again, periodically, just give them a spray just to keep them nice, supple and doing their job properly. Of course, you'll need a number plate depicting the car you are towing with to go on the back there, of course, as well. Right, okay, we've got another locker here, which we'll use the key to open. This just goes in underneath the bed. In fact, it's another key that is in the book pack, so I can't show you that, but that is goes in underneath the bed, and just access really to the storage underneath the bed. This here is our battery locker. So you can see in here there is a battery. Okay, can't guarantee this battery, but it is in there for you. All right, that's providing power to the 12-volt system in the van, so the likes of your lights, your water pump, your fridge panel, and things like that. Okay, if you're off grid and you don't have access to mains power, you can still use everything. The gas will step in where the 12-volt system can't work. But if you are on a site with mains hookup, you will hook up with a mains cable like this, so you'll need one of these. That plugs into the side of the van. If your mains cable comes on a big reel, I would suggest taking it off that reel and flaking it out. We don't want it on a coil. It will get hot as it draws quite a lot of current, and we've seen melted cables and things like that. So just flake it out, even if it's under the van, so it doesn't look too messy, and then plug it into the side of your van. Okay, we'll go inside and start to plumb everything up. Obviously, here's our door. The way we lock it from inside is just like so. Then we open it like that, and it's of course a stable door as well, so we can split them as well. And you have a window there with a blackout blind on it as well. Right, so now we're inside. What we've already done is we've turned on our gas bottle. We've attached the water to the side. We've put our waste master in place. We're all level. We're all steady. Now we want to start getting water through the van. So first things first, you're going to come and do is turn off all your taps. Okay, make sure they're all shut. You will have left them open hopefully last time you used it, and we'll talk more about that when we're breaking the van down. So make sure all your taps are closed. You then need to come and find your boiler drain valve. Okay, which is just underneath here, and it is that yellow switch just there. Okay, this one here. When you get to the van, it will be in the upwards position like that. What you're going to do is just flick it down. Okay, that way when we start pumping water into the van, it will come through here and pass through this switch. Other than that, it will just drop straight down to the ground, because that's how we drain our boiler. So that closed, all of our taps closed, and we are ready to start purging the system. So you're going to come to your panel here. So we've got two sides to this panel. The top one is the main panel for the actual van. Bottom one is for all of our heating and hot water. Okay, so we'll concentrate on this one for the minute. We press the master switch there, which turns on the panel. Okay, and then we've got a button here which says lights, so we can turn off all of our lights with one button. Okay, but obviously there are individual switches as well. This one turns on and off our awning light, but this one here is our water pump. So we want to turn our water pump on. Okay. And then we are going to just look through here as well. You've got settings, tells you the internal temperature of the van, the voltage of your leisure battery, and other bits and pieces as well. Okay, so what we will do is start to purge the water system. So the way we're going to do that is come to our tap, and I'm going to turn it on to hot. I'm going to turn the tap on. All right, you'll get a lot of coughing and spluttering while this is going on. The reason for that is we've got a lot of air in the system. Okay, so while it's trying to fill that boiler up, okay, it's going to push all of the air out of it and push that air out of the tap. So it'll cough and it'll splutter. It does take a little bit of time until that boiler's full, and then once you get a steady flow of water coming through, you can then turn the tap off. You then do the same on the cold leg of the system. Okay, that will be much quicker because there's not filling up a boiler. But once you've got a steady flow of water coming out the tap on both the hot and the cold leg, you can shut that tap off. Then do it in your bathroom, so for your shower and also for your sink as well. Even if you're not going to use the shower, still get all the air out of the system. You'll find everything will just work better and you'll have less problems. Okay, once that's done, we then want to start heating things up. Now we've got an isolator switch for our boiler just down here. Okay, so you want to make sure that is on, and you see there's a little orange light that tells us that it is. So Alder water heating system. So make sure that is switched on, otherwise nothing will work. And then we're going to come to our second part of the panel, which is just here. Okay, so right. So to wake the panel up, just press the middle button, and then what we can do is select across all the different settings. Okay, so firstly, you can see here we've got it's flashing on here, so that's for my heating. So I can turn my heating on and off. Okay, off and on. So if I press on, I can then change my temperature in the van. So that's my water. That's right. So I'm going to turn my heating on, Then, so that's on now. So then I go across to the thermometer. Okay, and then I can change my temperature, so up and down here, you see, and that tells me the temperature that I want the van to be. So I can go all the way up to 30 degrees if I want to. All right, so this is how I turn it on and off. Then it's my temperature. Yeah, then I can go across again, and this is for my hot water, which is off at the minute, so I can turn that on by going up one there, and that will turn on my hot water and heat it up. I think it's to about 60 degrees it will heat it up to. Okay, I can then go across one more, and this is my different power that I can use for the van. So I can either run the boiler on gas, okay, or I can run it on electric. So the little picture of the flame is gas, and then this little 2 in a box, that is the electric side of things. Okay, so you can see I'm flashing on gas and it's saying it's off. So if I wanted to turn it on gas, I would just go like that and press, leave it there. Okay, if I wanted to turn it off from gas, I could just press down, see, off, on. Okay, so that's now telling me my gas is off. And then this is my electric side of stuff. So if I'm plugged into mains and I've got access to mains power, I can use different levels of power. All right, so depending on what site I'm on, so I can use, for instance, 1 kilowatt of power. You see that's changed there to 1, 2, or even 3 kilowatts of power. So the best way to describe this, if you are on a site and you've got your heating running on 3 kilowatts of power, which is obviously quite a lot of draw, okay, then you go to put your fridge on, and then you go to run your kettle or your hairdryer, and then you keep tripping out your 240 volt breakers here, which we'll talk about in a minute. You're trying to draw too much current off the campsite. Some campsites can deal with it, some can't. They will tell you what is available on the site. So if you keep dropping that out, you will come in here and you'll maybe drop that down to 2 or 1 kilowatt, depending on what else you want to use inside the van. Okay, it's a little bit of trial and error sometimes, but you will get the hang of it. So I know 2 kilowatts is absolutely fine here, so I'll leave it on that. I don't need it on the gas because I'm plugged into mains. Okay, so it's kind of as simple as that, really. I'll just go through that very quickly again. So this one here is my heating on or off, so I can turn that on or off, off, on. If I've got it on, I would then go over to the next one, which is the picture of the thermometer, and that's my internal temperature. Yep. I then go across to my hot water, and I can have that off or on. Okay, obviously I'm going to have it on because I want to heat my water up in the boiler. I'm then going to decide how I want to power my boiler. Am I powering it by gas, or am I powering it by electric? And if I'm powering it by electric, how much electric am I using? Okay, I can also run it in combination with the gas and the electric. So say you went on holiday and it was snowing outside, it was, you know, ice on the floor, and you wanted to heat the van up really quickly or get that water heated up. I could have it on gas and 3 kilowatts of power potentially, and that would heat it up really quickly. And then once that's all heated up, I may well come in here, turn off my gas, drop it down to 2 kilowatts or whatever. Okay, so it's just about getting used to the sort of the site you're on and what else you're going to be using in your van. But at the minute I've got my hot water on, I've got my heating on, and I'm running 2 kilowatts of electric. Okay, and it does tell me here, this little symbol in the corner, that I have access to mains power. That's a little power socket there which tells me that there. It also tells me it up here as well. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. So that is that side of stuff. We'll then talk about our breakers down here that we just spoke about. Now this is our power supply unit for the van. Obviously we've got a 12 volt system from our battery. That's all the fuses down here. Okay, it does tell you what they all do. All right, so if you do need to change a fuse, this is where you come to do it. And then we've got this side of it up here, which is very similar to what you'd have at home, because we've got 240 volt coming into the van. It tells you here, this one's doing our boiler, sockets and fridge. This one's doing our battery charger. This one is our main RCD, where the electricity hits the van like you would have at home. If you're struggling to get 240 volt power into the van, you can't get your plug sockets working, or you can't get your boiler to work on mains electric, come in here and press this test button. If you press that and this drops, that tells you that you've got power coming to the van, so you know that. If you press that button though and this stays up in the air, or up here like that, that tells me there's no power coming to the van. So the problem is where you're plugged into, and 9 times out of 10 you'll find that's what the problem is. The posts that you plug into on sites will also have trip switches as well, so you may well need to go and reset it, or you may not have plugged your cable in properly or something like that. All right, but if you're trying to work out where your issue is it outside the van or inside the van, that's where we come and test that. All right, okay. we'll just go through all the lockers and just make sure that we know what everything does. In here's our TV aerial, status directional aerial in the downwards position at the moment. When you get to site and you want to use it, you just undo the locking nut at the top. Okay, it will push it up in the air. That will then stick it up over the top of the van. Of course, when we're travelling, we do need to pull it back down. We've got a little handle down the bottom. We can twiddle that around. That will change the plane of the aerial when it's up in the air, just to try and get a better signal if you need to. Once it comes, the signal comes through here, goes into our Vision Plus booster box. Okay, turns on and off from the top. Just leave it on maximum gain, all right, and then it'll just do what it needs to do. So it's just going to boost the signal from the aerial, really. So this will turn on and off with your main panel switch, but if you're not using the aerial, you can just turn it off from there if you want to. If you're off grid and you want to try and save your battery as much as possible. Stereo, okay. Speakers either side. On-off switch is this one up in the top corner here. Okay, so we can have aux in there. We've got a CD player, we've got radio, so we can change what we're doing just by pressing this button here. So we can plug our phone in with an aux cable if we need to as well. And then to turn it off, we just hold that button down again. You see this? There we go. Right. I didn't do that very well. There we go. Okay, let's talk about windows. So we've got fly screens in all the windows that open, and then all the windows have also got blackout blinds as well. Okay, so we can completely black the cabin out at night. The windows open by 1, 2, 3, 4. They all open in the same way from looking at them, so they're really simple. You just push the window open, okay, and then you've got these little screw nuts on either side, just there. So you just turn those round and lock them into place, all right, and then release them when you want to shut the window. You can also shut the window on kind of a breather setting as well, so not completely closed. That way we're still allowing some airflow through the van on a hot day, so you could do that around the whole van if necessary. But I would suggest if you're leaving it for any period of time, or certainly if you're travelling, you want to make sure they're completely shut up. Couple of hidden light switches up there, just FYI. Good. 240 volt socket and a TV socket, 12 volt socket there as well, so we can put a TV on the front shelf here if we want to. We've also got our coffee table. Book pack in here with all of your instructions and everything in it. Our microwave plate's in there as well. There's a reason for that. We don't travel with a microwave plate in our microwave, otherwise it ends up smashed on the floor. Individual reading lights, as you can see, and they're all individually switched there. The front window here, if you want to put the fly screen down, the fly screen will only go up so far, up to there, and then you have to bring the blind down to meet it. Okay, but then to pull the whole blind up, it just does like that. All right, so if you think it doesn't go all the way to the top, it's not supposed to. All right, we've got a clock there. Nothing in these cupboards, I don't think. Nope. We've already talked about the water, so we know we've got hot water in here. I say, bear in mind that 60-degree water does get very, very hot. Of course, you can mix it with some cold, but if there's kids around or anything like that, just bear in mind that if it's on hot, that is hot water, okay? You've got your drinks cabinet in here as well, always handy. Light switches for the kitchen are just here, and two 240 volt sockets that you can use when you're plugged into mains for your kettle, toasters, and all that sort of stuff as well. So I'm just opening all the cupboards just to make sure I don't miss anything. Okay. Let's talk about the hob. Again, when we're travelling, you want to make sure everything's secure, especially the glass tops here as well. All right, but also don't put this down until everything's cooled down if you have been using the hob as well, otherwise they get very hot and it can shatter. We've got 3 gas burners and 1 electric burner. So the electric one will only work when you're plugged into mains. These 3 will work assuming you've got gas in, of course, and you've turned your gas bottle on. I'm not going to teach you how to use an oven, but the basics of it, that's your igniter. Okay, so to light it up, you just hold it down and then you light it like that. Okay, it's a good idea when you do first turn your gas on is to come in here, just let one of those burn for a minute or so. That just helps purge the air out of it, the gas system as well, and just it'll be easier to light things when you come to do it. The electric one works from here. Okay, and the light tells us when it's on. Obviously, making sure we're closing everything off when we're finished. Top oven, grill, sorry, I should say, is this one here, and then the main oven is just down in there. So again, hold it down. There we go. Just remember as well, this is it's a caravan oven. It's not a domestic oven, so it may take slightly longer to cook things than you expect it to. Got a couple of switch plugs down here. One's for the microwave, one's for the hot plate, I believe. And then we also have our gas isolator switches as well in here. If you do need to isolate something, that's where you come to do it. You shouldn't need to, but that's where you would do it if you need to. Okay, let's talk about the fridge. Domestic three-way fridge. What that means is it will work on 3 different types of power. One is when you're plugged into mains electricity. 2, it will run off gas if you don't have access to mains electricity. And 3, it will work off the 12-volt system of your car as long as your car has been wired up to do so. That doesn't mean it will run off the leisure battery. It's running off your car when you're travelling. So this is kind of our power selector, if that's the right phrase. So when it's off all the way to the top, turn it around to the picture of the plug. That will then turn the fridge on from the mains electric. Turn it through to the battery setting. That is when we are towing with our car, and it will work on the 12-volt. Bear in mind, it's not very powerful, so you may want to chill the fridge down if you're going to be travelling some distance with stuff in the fridge, and then switch it over to the battery setting when it's already chilled down. Otherwise, you might get to where you are and all your food's ruined inside. And then if we want to light it on gas, so we're in the middle of a field and we don't have access to mains electricity, we turn it down to the flame. We then come over to these 2 buttons here. Now this one is the temperature for the fridge inside, okay, so we can change how cold it is, but it's also the gas flow, a bit like on the ovens. Okay, so to light the fridge, you hold this down and hold it down for a little bit before you press the igniter, just to get the gas flowing. Okay, and then we hold the igniter all the way in nice and hard, and then we're waiting for that orange bar to go into the green. When you first do it, it will take a little bit of time. Just bear with. It's not always easy to do it with one hand. This is why it's good to run the gas first for a little bit. Okay, there we go, I just heard that light. You'll hear it go a bit of a whoosh when it lights, okay? But as long as we're touching the green in there as we are now, then we're happy with that. But yeah, but you will hear it, and you'll also, if you go out to your fridge panel, or your fridge vents I should say, outside, you'll also hear the pilot light going as well, if you're in any doubt. So anyway, I'm going to now turn that back. You can see that drop straight back down. Now I'm on the electric side of stuff, all right? Okay. Around this side we've also got another couple of plug sockets. We've got a 240 volt, two 240 volt sockets and a 12 volt and an aerial here as well, so we can put a TV just here, and we also have another little light switch there as well. Okay, that's the plug socket for your microwave. This here is obviously your microwave. You can see I've taken the plate out. Again, there's nothing really holding this in, so if you travel with, as it tells you there, don't travel with your microwave plate in. You'll put holes in your floor, whatever. So just put it away when you're not when you're not. Okay. Skylights over and above us open by pushing this down and pulling it back. Okay, again, blinds and fly screens on the skylights as well. Our other lights here has a light, so we can have it on full or dim. Okay. We know about our bed. We know we can get underneath it. Alright, and you can see all your carpets are in there as well, and also your table that you use in your dining area or outside or wherever you want to use it, really. Okay. Right, let's talk about the toilet quickly. Obviously we saw it from the outside. Our flush tank that we saw, that's situated in the top here, and our cassette is in the bottom just down here. Alright, so it's all nice and clean in here. So you can move the toilet around depending on how long your legs are or how comfortable you want to be. So you use the toilet in the normal way, and then you flush it by pressing the flush button on top. Obviously I've got no water in there at the moment, so nothing's happening. And then you open the gate by pressing that or turning that to one side. That opens the gate, everything drops into the bottom. We then pull that shut, okay, making sure it is shut as we spoke about earlier, and then that will allow everything to stay locked away where it's supposed to be. We've also got a sort of sink, little laundry basket in here as well, and then our shower, of course. So that's how that all operates. We've got similar kind of lights in here as we've got in there, and then a pull cord for this one. Right, that's kind of the basics of how it works. What we'll also do now is say, right, we've been on holiday, we've had a nice time. We'll now start shutting the van down. All right, so we're going to make sure everything's nice and secure. All right. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come off and I'm going to turn off my main panel here. Okay, I'm going to come and turn off my fridge because I'm done with it. You may well put it onto the fridge setting or the driving setting. Don't forget though, when you get back, you need to turn that off as well because otherwise it will drain your battery. So you want to make sure that's off when you're leaving it. We're then going to come and open our boiler drain valve, start draining all the water out. So that's that yellow one. There it goes. And then we're going to leave all of our taps open in between hot and cold. Now the reason we do that is that allows air to travel through the system. So if for any reason we get freezing weather or anything like that, water expands when it freezes, and the amount of times we see cracked taps, cracked pipes and all that sort of stuff. All right. So that way, if you've got somewhere to go, if there is any water stuck in there and it does freeze. So if you can get in the habit of doing that every time, then you won't have any problems in that regard. All right. So that's all of that side of stuff. What we'll then do is start to break everything down on the outside. So you can see the water draining from the boiler there. Okay, so then I'm going to release this, then I'm going to shake it off, put it away in. I would keep this in your sink generally, but I'm going to put it in this front locker because that's just where we keep everything, so we know where everything's together. Okay, then you will stow away your Acroll, stow away your Waste Master, clean them all up, put them back where you need to. If you're travelling, of course, you're going to turn off your gas bottle, make sure that's strapped in. I'm actually going to remove this gas bottle because it's my test one. Again, remembering it's on a hand tight wheel, so it's nice and easy. All right. Again, the opposite threads of what you would expect. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to make sure all the cupboards are locked up. Everything's ready for the road. Then you would lift up your corner steadies, hitch yourself up to your car, and you're ready to go. Now, of course, we'll help you out with a full hitch up, and also we will show you how the motor mover works as well. So we'll go through that with you as well on collection or on the handover. Okay, so look, that's the basics of it. I hope that's made some kind of sense. There are instruction manuals in the red book pack for you, and also we are on the end of the phone, so please do ask any questions. It's really not a problem. But look, enjoy the van, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.